is going to be an absolute banger.
Thank you very much, Jordan. It's the final map of the APAC Pro League, the final match, rather, of the APAC Pro League. Fnatic and Nora Rengo. I feel like we couldn't have asked for two more appropriate teams right now moving in to this map. Number one, it's Consulate. We've seen Fnatic's Consulate before. I think it was only about half an hour ago we were chatting about this one, but it looks like they're continuing some of the patterns.
Yes, they are, and Nora will take off the Nomad straight away, which is interesting because Fnatic banned that last time, and the Jackal being the other attacker ban from Fnatic, they really wanted to be able to roam around. They're going to have to try and outplay Nora a bit more flexibly on their defense, so that's a good ban by them. We also see a Valkyrie ban from Fnatic.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a bit odd because obviously we were talking about how we thought that the Valkyrie ban factored into Aerowolf's success on this map against Fnatic, but it looks like on the Nora Rengo side, they'll just ban their very staple Echo. It's something that they always ban. Now, the thing is here for Fnatic, we have two counter bans to Nora Rengo, and on the Nora Rengo side, we have two bans of things that they just don't want to deal with, and it's something that you and I were talking about with Nora Rengo before. Some of these operator bans that they consistently will do, it makes you a bit worried. You know, they always ban the Glaz, so are they really prepared to come up against it when the enemy team brings it out and they can't ban it? And you know, you won't be able to use your bans as counter bans because you always feel like you have to auto ban specific operators.
That's right, and again, I'm kind of surprised that Fnatic have banned the Valkyrie. They commonly play it themselves. For sure, Nora are very strong on the Valkyrie with that intel game, and they love to play that operator, so it will hurt Nora Rengo equally as much as Fnatic, I would say. And we will see Nora Rengo starting here on defense on the top 4 bomb side of Console and Meeting Room. It was a pretty standard lineup from what we saw there. Papilia, though, with the Rook, that's an interesting pick to bring the extra ACOG. Commonly, we might see the Rook played in that private bathroom there, getting that long angle into Meeting. What do you think they might try to do with that, Dev?
Yeah, exactly as you said. I mean, we've seen it a ton, especially in the ANZ Pro League. All of these teams tend to really favor opening up those long angles. We often see a deployable shield placed in to assist, and then these long angles from inside, just tucked in that corner near that private bathroom, as you mentioned, looking towards the top of the Visa stairs. It's something that's very useful, and I mean, it's a bit of a contrast to what we saw when Aerowolf were defending this bomb site, and Fnatic as well, really. We saw just the players inside of this meeting room were doing the protection of that, rather than actually having someone who's able to influence it from further away.
And one thing we actually talked about before the last map played on Consulate was the Blackbeard pick, that Fnatic have a couple of competent players on Blackbeard. We do see Rizraz taking up that Blackbeard role. He was going nuts on the Twitch before against Aerowolf, but here we are, he's on the Blackbeard.
And I think it's good for Fnatic. You know, you need to change up something when you move in. If Nora Rengo's been watching your previous match against Aerowolf, and I think it's a good move from Fnatic so far. But we did see some spawn peek attempted by Papilia using that Rook and the ACOG that goes along with it, but you know, only dealt damage into the shield of Rizraz, whereas Rizraz managed to deal a couple of shots in return, and that's why we see Papilia fairly low on HP.
Yeah, it looks like Fnatic are favoring this admin push again. They really like to take this push for this top 4 bomb site. It is easier to take this way, generally, if you're not resisted, because you can get into the map and starting to move around, whereas when you push from the windows, you still have to think about runouts and things like that.
What? Meryu breaks out the shield and takes down Rizraz. An impressive peak, and I mean, perhaps Rizraz hadn't replaced the shield and used the second one, used a fresh one. Maybe that would have helped him survive that gunfight. But, you know, Meryu does take a lot of damage for it, but still, that's the impact fragger from Fnatic already taken down.
And that's just not supposed to happen, right? Not when you play Blackbeard.
Well, why do you bring a Blackbeard, Raven? So that you don't get headshotted. What did Meryu just do? He just headshotted the Blackbeard. So, you know, it's not great to see, especially since Rizraz is the player we've been talking about on Fnatic.
Absolutely, and Virtue here just making sure that he can cover those Visa stairs quite comfortably from above with that sledge, opening a nice angle. They're potentially aware that the pulse was playing down there early, so they really want to make sure that they're not getting surprise flanked from that pulse. They will start to move through this copy room and try and open an angle into Meeting so that the person playing in Meeting cannot play comfortably, which I believe is Racial on the smoke.
And Racial's a very, very good smoke player. He's happy to play aggressive as it's needed, and I believe that's what we'll see from him as he potentially peeks on out into that little desk area. But so far, it hasn't been too much of a problem for him. There are some long angles being opened into Meeting, and that flushes out Racial into Lusty's crosshairs. So Fnatic have made some good ground now, and Nora Rengo, they try to reply, but it's a little bit of a two-way street as Fnatic also reply. That's a good grenade, though. Papilia, I believe, down on the floor. things working very well for Fnatic, and they're cautious. They know that there's a player here in Tellers. Ramu, I believe he's been cornered, and there you go, he'll be taken out. It's just JJ and Papilia left for Nora Rengo and Fnatic, poised to take this bomb site, but 25 seconds to go, time ticking away, and JJ is still confident with the Elder in his hands. Papilia also an ACOG to his name. Fnatic will be peeking this within a few moments.
Yeah, Virtue getting that frag on Papilia, so it's all up to JJ, but Virtue gets that frag as well. Beautifully pushed by Fnatic, and a great attack coming out from them straight away. Nora were not able to do too much damage without it being replied by Fnatic, which is really big credit to their team play. They never let a teammate get fragged without the refrag coming out, so that's super strong from them to start off this match.
And they also had a lot of really good information, even late round, knowing that there was a player below, knowing it was in fact the Pulse, and sending not just one but two players down to hunt that. Very strong reaction times from Fnatic, you know, as a team, very reactive, you know, having multiple players hunt this down. So really impressed by Fnatic so far, and the key to that, I think, is just, you know, having a little bit of variety compared to what Nora Rengo would have been watching in the Airwolf match.
Yeah, and we did see that Riz is going to bring that Blackbeard back again. Magnet 6 picking off the Bucks as Zofia, which is not something we saw him do much of in that last match, or usually much of at all. And we do see Nora Rengo have changed their bomb site as well. They are going to be playing this first floor lobby.
Yeah, we saw this was really close when Fnatic attacked it onto Airwolf. You know, Airwolf really just struggled with this one, and so I guess Nora Rengo, it's going to be difficult for them. I assume. You know, Fnatic have good attacks onto this bomb site and also onto the Archives Tellers bomb site. And I think it'll be, you know, a difficult slugfest for Nora Rengo to hold, but it looks like they will be playing fairly aggressively, holding inside a CEO. And these peaks, you know, aided by information from this bulletproof camera that Ramu will be placing in just a moment. Oh, no, okay. JJ is placing a Maestro, even an upgrade. I think that, alongside, you know, some strong fraggers, will help out a lot.
Yeah, and the real battle is usually won upstairs for this bomb site. The upstairs control is so critical to being able to actually get a plant down. You can't just, generally you can't just rush that front door and plant, because if they have upstairs, there are just too many angles to have to contest with. Once you have that and you have that control, you can take that lobby, and there's so many long angles the defense have to worry about. That generally favors attackers. So this first half of the attack phase is really critical about who really gets the advantage here and whether an execute will even be possible.
A little bit of time subsided now. Fnatic just checking onto the bomb side, of course. This is where
aggressive play there.
Oh, wait. What?
Magnet's just taken the site. They've done a rush plant here. They noticed that Nora were taking a while to set up, and they're planting Piano. Papilia has dropped down. He gets one, but Fnatic just getting all the frags, and it's just going to be too late for Nora Rengo. They were caught sleeping, and Fnatic have got this plant down, and Mario is all by himself against 4 Fnatic players. Virtue will finish it off. An excellent read from Fnatic. Whoever made the call to do that, great call, because it worked beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, we saw at the very start of the round opening up that lobby door, but it wasn't just that. There was clearly a lack of presence from Nora Rengo on the bomb site, because Magnet managed to simply walk all the way into the public bathroom downstairs, and on top of that, we also had to rappel in the windows into Piano. There was literally nobody on either bomb site or the connector between the bomb sites.
Yeah, and Nora Rengo not going to have a piece of that bomb site again. They're going straight back upstairs. They felt more comfortable on that. We will see Rizraz sticking this Blackbeard again. He's pretty confident that this is working out for him. And Magnet sticking with the Buck this time. I think that did work. Ramu's decided to switch off the Pulse, though, to the Dock, so bringing in extra ACOG.
Yeah, it's not a strategy I would personally advise, but, you know, I've seen teams such as Nora Rengo make it work. You know, substituting more utility-heavy operators for, say, your vertical plant denial for an operator that's more likely to win gunfights. But hey, we know the Nora Rengo play style. We know that Nora Rengo's players themselves, they do have the aim to make that work. It's a real question of, you know, are Fnatic going to fall in these cases? And, you know, one of the ways that you can counter that kind of playstyle or peak everything is bring an operator that's going to win those gunfights, such as, you know, a Blackbeard. But it didn't work out for them in the previous round when Meryu just took his head off. So I am up in arms. I'm a little bit, it's a bit up in the air about this one. I can't call it decisively.
Yeah, and we will see Nora with a relatively similar setup to last time. The change with the dock doesn't necessarily change too much with their setup, potentially more leaning towards how they decide to actually play this bomb site out. We do see Fnatic spawning on this admin side again, so potentially favoring this admin take. They will be repelling out to these windows and looking to take it quite quick, it appears. They must already have some drones in position. We do see a drone in there already, so Virtue might be able to get into a quite strong position with very little congestion and not much time taken off.
Yeah, so far this clear of the admin seems to be fairly good for Fnatic. Nora Rengo being pushed further and further back as they just roam around in the top and near this bomb site. And, they have a bit of flexibility at this point, but I think that the key thing is that, they don't have many positions elsewhere downstairs and such. They've got lots of players just up near this bomb site, and they'll be contesting a lot of angles towards this admin push, and I think that really can bite them in the butt if they're, if they don't win some of these gunfights. The story could be over.
Yeah, Papilia looks like he's just waiting for somebody to be potentially rotating on that north side. He does know someone's out there. He definitely heard the feet. There was Magnet, but he is rotating all the way around to the south side. So Papilia has missed his opportunity to get a quick pick onto Magnet. Fnatic have really started to surround this meeting site now with still half the round to go. So really great time management coming out of Fnatic here. This Blackbeard is having a really great angle, making sure nobody from Connector can push out. And the smoke has been downed in Connector. It looks like he will be docked up. So not too... Oh, actually, no. That has been stopped by a Magnet with a beautifully placed grenade. The dock to no avail, and that is a smoke down with still over a minute to go.
Second time in a row that, well, Racial's really struggled in that position. Fnatic very easily clearing it out 2 times in a row. They have the numbers advantage now. A lot of time has elapsed so far, so Nora Rengo do have that going for them, and Fnatic still haven't managed to open anything into this A bomb site. And if they attempt to simply walk in from the Visa doorway, Papilia will have a long angle from this position. He's playing in the private bathroom. And he has a lot of cheeky angles and cheeky holes set up to make that work. But I think that's a Blackbeard holding a very tight angle. JJ takes a bit of damage, but so does Rizraz's shield, and he's having to watch his own flank. He doesn't have a teammate here to help out. Puts on a fresh shield now, not much time remaining, and Fnatic have really no choice but to start the push.
Rizraz just escaping with his tail there. The person from Connector peeking out as he crosses the doorway. Virtue will be secured and revived, so he will be on 20 HP. Papilia, though, fragging out Magnet. That is the buck below. We will see Lusty preparing for this execute as Virtue gets another frag onto Meryu. Oh! The Connector almost getting that frag into the Kappa Tower. Aces will push in to plant deep. The Maestro is aware and is trying to pre-fire the position to no avail, though, and Aces, he finally is fragged by JJ. 3 seconds to go. They will have to get the plant down. Ramu is fragged out, and Lusty will secure the round for Fnatic. A great round again from the attackers.
It came down to the wire as well, and even with that smoke grenade, Nora Rengo still managed to deny that plant. The fantastic thing is that Fnatic were ready to replace that player on the plant immediately, and the player from the A balcony had perfect cover.
Absolutely incredible team play coming out of Fnatic. Like, every time they are challenged, there's someone there to answer or assist or do something, and it's winning them these rounds, and they're actually on fire. The first half of this attack has just been very convincing for them. Perhaps this strategy of picking this map as their map was because they felt fresh on it. They're like, you know what, we've got our jam on Consulate, let's roll, let's play it again.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right? We've been saying Nora Rengo have been able to watch this entire map play out from the Airwolf game, but that doesn't seem to be helping them at all. And as you said, Fnatic are warmed up, not only in the game, but on this map specifically.
Yeah, that's right, and it's definitely helping them. They look really relaxed as well. They don't look like they're feeling the pressure as they did against the Era game. They look much more comfortable, and I imagine securing Milan and securing that US Major already really helps that. But now they really want to secure that first seed spot. They really want to take that strong position heading into the Milan land. They want to be able to be on top and not play one of those first seed teams from the other regions. And
I think a large part of that as well is that Nora Rengo kicked them out of the 6 Invitational. And Nora Rengo, obviously, we've heard these guys, both of the teams, talk about how, they are brethren here. Both of these teams, they are the ones that see each other every single global event, and they respect each other for that. But also there is a little bit of a rivalry going on. Who is better at the moment? Fnatic do have the head-to-head victory, in terms of just the numbers. But most recently, Nora won when these two teams played off. So if Fnatic can, flip that on its head once again and take the win over Nora Rengo here, then, well, they're really reassuring their position in the hierarchy of APAC.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And we're going to see Nora Rengo go to the garage bomb site here. They're opting to play the mirror in that public bathroom. A very strong position if you wish to roam clear and not really just avoid it. So that's going to be JJ on the mirror there. And they've got those mutes as well, so they potentially might play those mute jammers in those difficult to get positions. Riz is playing a Thatcher though, so now that is not banned on this map, they can actually clear those mute jammers and that utility a lot easier. They will look to push towards the garage quickly this time and look to get the wall open first.
Yeah, good time management, I believe. And well, there's also good claymores and the relevant setup. Of course, opening up that yellow stairs window really puts pressure on anyone playing aggressively downstairs. And really, really good time management. Fnatic
is this
just
going to be another
blitz
rush?
on inside, but Rizraz is the first to be taken down. Maybe a bad read here for Fnatic. It might have worked on lobby, but Nora Rengo are ready for it this time, and it's only Virtue left.
Ooh.
A flawless round for Nora Rengo.
An absolute shutout there, and Nora with a great read onto that rush. Fnatic potentially letting their confidence get ahead of them there, and flawless from Nora. They knew it straight away, and they counted it, and it was great to see.
I think that Fnatic, I like the idea, but I don't think they really assessed the situation fully. I'm not sure I saw enough drones going into garage and checking the key positions, because if that was the case, I really think that Rizraz should have won that gunfight. But the lack of information for Fnatic meant that I think it was a bit of an overzealous push, and Nora Rengo aren't going to take that kind of disrespect.
Yep, and we are going to see Nora Rengo go back to this top floor bomb site. They really want to make this work. They look like they're going to try and favor a lot of ACOGs here. They got the 2 with the Maestro and the Rook. They did 6-pick off the dock back to the Pulse in favor of Intel. The roam didn't really work out for them last time they had the Pulse, so it'll be interesting to see how they've adapted to that now.
Yeah, of course, this top floor has been a bit of a struggle for Nora so far. That said, it's still it's something that this would be their 3rd attempt on this bomb site, and I do feel for Nora Rengo that this top floor bomb site is accomplishable, but there really needs to be something changing, because I think that utility denial from Nora Rengo just hasn't really been prominent enough. Fnatic have dismantled all of these key positions, particularly, especially Racial, who has been playing inside of this meeting room, and any kind of other plan denial just hasn't really been impactful.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think they really need to implement some more aggression. I think something Nora Rengo is really good at is that aggression, and they're really known for that. So I think Fnatic pushing so confidently, I think they need to meet that with some aggression and make them not feel so comfortable, get them off that confidence ride. Yeah. Actually, if we still look at these outlines, Fnatic have completely changed their push. It looks like it's going to be a push on the console windows, which is an adaptation of their own.
Yeah, well, I was going to say maybe Nora Rengo do need to seek that aggression inside of admin, but Fnatic don't seem to be pushing that direction at all, and as you mentioned, completely changed it. We've seen this attack from Fnatic many a time, attempting to clear the yellow stairs and progressing from there, and with the smoke likely to be playing inside of meeting on account of that's where Nora Rengo would expect Fnatic to push. It means they might be missing players, but that's the kind of aggression we wouldn't usually see. And unfortunately, Rizraz missing his stun grenade, but he's in a good position. Nora Rengo, though, have read this push and are preventing Rizraz from peeking by deploying these smokes. Yeah,
Mary was very lucky to get away there without losing his head. But peeking the Blackbeard on that window, he was up right near the bomb. It's a long way to run without the Blackbeard being able to shoot you. So good team play from Nora to be able to get Mary out of there. Oh, Racial will take the shield off of Rizraz. Not an ounce of health taken off though, but that is one shield down. That's half the battle. Racial was taken low, but he's back into a strong, tight position there. And the Blackbeard's just going to try and play it a little bit more passive on these windows at this stage.
Papilia as well, keen to peek this Blackbeard. Of course, Nora Rengo know now that there's only one shield left for the Blackbeard. Racial's so confident to peek these angles, and JJ is the first one to find a blood in this round. Oh, that's a very close angle. Racial gets taken down, but that's both Blackbeard shields down. Oh, Rizraz, you have to capitalize here. Is this surely not possible? Nonetheless, Nora Rengo in a good position. Maybe 1 or 2 rounds will finish off Rizraz, but he himself will finish off Racial underneath that window. It's a 4 versus 4 now, but pretty much all of the utility that Blackbeard brought to the table has been disabled.
Yeah, and speaking of the Blackbeard, he is also on low HP, so he's not got too much left in the tank, and he's potentially going to lose it here. They're unaware of where each other are, and It's such a close
No
fight for
way.
Ramu and Rizraz. They don't even realize. Rizraz gives away his position, shooting the camera, and Ramu will finally finish him off. 30 seconds to go. Fnatic are going to have to look for an execute here. Lusty will get a firebolt onto Meryu. He did tag Aces low. Aces is the one with the diffuser that could assist as Aces tries to get the plant down. Virtue in that private bathroom, just trying to cut that crossfire into the connector. Papillia with a quick two-piece, and now it's a 1v3 all up on Virtue. Virtue will tag the one at the shield, but JJ will finish him off. A great defense there from Nora Rengo, and they're coming back.
Strong adaptations between these rounds, and it's exactly what you were asking for, Raven. These guys are playing more aggressively, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, I really like that they started to implement that. It definitely made the Fnatic have to think about what they were doing. They did try to adapt to their push. I like that Fnatic didn't just default back to admin. But at the end of the day, Nora read that early. They implemented that aggression, and it meant that Fnatic couldn't really get into the process of what they wanted to do.
And something a little bit unusual as well that Fnatic might be a little bit less comfortable dealing with is that smoke playing inside of console itself. Because what we'd usually see is Fnatic dealing with the smoke on the yellow stairs, but Racial, instead of playing in meeting where he was to prevent an admin take, he heard that the call was coming from CEO windows, and he rotates into CEO, uses his smoke grenades to prevent Rizraz from peeking the windows, and then Racial played aggressively on the back of that with the shotgun, and it worked really well.
Yeah, it was really good, and it meant that the Blackbeard didn't just hold that fat angle in there and get some picks himself, and that was really well played by Nora. This final defense round will be played out on the lobby. Nora Rengo opting to play that. JJ bringing the Rook again. They're really liking bringing the Rook at the moment. This double ACOG strat coming out. Rizraz did 6-pick off the Blackbeard, so he will be finally playing Twitch for his final attack here. He's probably looking to just absolutely frag up on that.
I know, we know he can do that. He was not as successful on that low fire rate semi-automatic SR25, but give him the FAMAS and I'm sure he'll be able to accomplish something.
That's right, and Fnatic are going to have to really assess how they push this. It looks like Nora, again, have a very heavy presence upstairs. Traditionally, as I was saying last time, you do have to take upstairs if you wish to attack the bomb site. Russia's not often working out, but last time Fnatic were able to execute that perfectly with a good read on that slow setup. JJ holding an angle to that spawn, but nobody there. He's going to bail away from that spawn peak before he loses some damage. Fnatic is going to have to think about this top floor clear here because there's quite a few players and they're all holding a few different angles that are quite crossfire. So it's going to be difficult for them to push aggressively as they had been early with that confidence. Virtue here on admin, just ready to repel into these windows. It's a good position to start from as you get some control of the map and you can comfortably start pushing across.
Yeah, and I think it is a good move from Fnatic to go for that more systematic push instead of just going for that default. Sorry, not default, but the strategy they employed last time, which was a rush, and as you mentioned, doesn't work every time. So it'll be a top floor take for Fnatic, trying to clear out these positions on the inside of the waiting room, that connector, and of course in meeting. And so far, I think Racial, with the way he performed in that previous round, defending CEO, I have a lot of confidence in his ability as a smoke to delay time. And, here's the first gas babe that goes out. 1 minute 45 on the clock. It's, you might think a bit early, but I think it's a very good use of this utility because the longer that you stall out Fnatic, the more they think, all right, we have to change something. And the more that Fnatic start changing what they're doing, in this case, when they have the right idea, but they just need to waste this time, I think that Fnatic may end up falling into a trap.
Speaking of, JJ does get a nice pick onto Virtue. That is the sledge taken off. Rizraz taken low and out of the game now. Some refrags coming out there. Magnet on a Papillia. JJ on a Magnet. Aces on a JJ. Oh, it's all falling now. Ace is last alive, but taken out by Ramu, and that just went as quick as it started.
And equalizing the half now. Nora Rengo head onto their attack, securing rounds 4, 5, and 6. So, everything started well for Fnatic, but Nora Rengo are back into this game and they're, keen to make their mark on Consulate.
Yeah, and now they're going to be switching to the attack, which Fnatic are going to be looking to continue a strong performance from defense as they did last match when they played this against Aero. They had that first half at a 4-2, so we will see them take the Archives Tellers bomb site first this time.
We've seen Archives Tellers work really well for Fnatic in the past. It's something they do really like defending, and I think it comes down to a lot of teams not as comfortable to attack that. But Nora Rengo, I don't know, we always see them come prepared. We looked at that giant manila folder that you can see him Kazoku is holding right now. And I mean, if Nora Rengo have watched almost any of Fnatic's Pro League matches on this map, they will know that Fnatic like this bomb site, and Nora Rengo will no doubt be prepared with counter strategies.
Yeah, sometimes you have to wonder though whether Kazoku's actually holding strats, whether he's just holding choreographed dance moves and just deciding which one to pull out next, you know?
I think that it's a bit of both, right? Maybe he's got a separate folder for that.
Maybe. We are going to see Magnet playing this mirror. It's a very interesting mirror in that little electric room there. He's going to push back upstairs, and this setup looking a bit different for Fnatic actually to the last time they held it, and it's good to see that they've changed it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep that variety up because, of course, as we said, you know, Nora Rengo are going to counter-strat it, so for Fnatic, it's their responsibility to keep it different. This mirror window is not one I've actually personally seen before, and I think that it really shows that Fnatic are familiar now that a lot of teams will attempt to push in from that security hallway and then into archives down below, and that's an essential component of many teams' pushes, and if that mirror can meet that, then it's a perfect way to deny some of this. But speaking of some of these pushes from the Nora Rengo guys, it's opening up some of these default hatches that's the first step, but I don't believe it'll get successfully opened with 3 of the Hibana pellets destroyed by Lusty above.
Yeah, it's really good use of that angle from Lusty. He's very safe from the doorway from that angle, and he can deny those charges. Mary did ping it out to his teammates, and that's really going to stunt what they were trying to do. There was 3 of them stacked at that doorway, and they were trying to open that hatch really early, so it's a great counter there from Fnatic just to prevent Nora from being able to play the style they want to play for this attack. Rizraz here on the pulse, getting some great intel for his team about that repel on the south side of admin.
She's running out. That was perfectly timed as well. That communication from Rizraz onto Virtue executes a good kill onto Papilia. Fnatic always gathering information and managing to capitalize upon that, but JJ will attempt the same thing, trying to flush out the position of Lusty, but he doesn't take very much damage from that frag grenade. Nora Rengo on these repels, we've seen how exposed that makes them, but that really is how they need to take out Lusty here, who's just playing safe. They know exactly where he is, but they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and they're just choosing not to continue that pressure onto him. And Mary gets a nice prone peek onto Virtue, but oh my god, he's on 1 HP, so not much of a dream left for him. And JJ will take out Lusty there. So now it's a 3v4, almost you'd say a 3v3 the way Mario is. It's going to be a close execute here with about a minute to go. Nora Rengo are going to have to start putting more pressure onto site. Rizraz will tag someone through the floor. That's Racial down quite low HP. Rizraz just running around, getting a lot of intel, getting some good damage for his team. Magnet's aware someone's in Visa by himself.
No!
And Magnet will not get that frag. JJ wins that gunfight. And Nora Rengo have been tagged quite low. Rama's the only one on full HP, so you'd almost say it's quite even in terms of the HP count, but it's bodies count, 2v4 here. Nora Rengo in favor. 40 seconds to go, and we're going to have to start seeing a plant coming out.
Yeah, and there's still 1 C4 on the defensive side. It's not Rizraz, but Aces that holds that. And this is a perfect situation, really, because Rizraz can call out the positions of the players, and then Aces can throw that C4 down. Oh, but there's a perfect denial from Mario. Aces kills himself with the C4. Desperate to deny that plant, and oh no, we get to see this.
Oh, poor Aces.
Chat for Aces.
He just had to go with the seppuku way out, you know, and that's a great defense there. Great attack from Nora. Fnatic really close to actually closing that out. It was really close with the man numbers, so a close round, but yeah, unfortunate. Nora really did well to get that plant down. Not only was he up on the cabinet that's in that bomb site, which is safe from C4s, there was a really great pick down those spiral stairs to the bottom to deny that pulse from below. It was really, really good team play.
You really have to credit Mario for the forethought to, okay, we know there's only 2 left. We know one of them's a pulse. They probably have a C4. We need someone to pressure below. And at first it was the IQ who went in solo, was unsuccessful. But even after that, they knew in a 2 versus 4, they had to keep throwing bodies. And Mario did perfectly save that round. But for now, it's Diesel's opportunity to talk to this team with Fnatic calling a tactical timeout here with them at the deficit.
Yeah, and they're really going to have to refocus here. They had such a strong performance at the start. Those first 3 rounds were amazing to watch. The team play and the confidence was good. And then Nora have come back to make it 3-3. And then they're able to secure that round now. So Fnatic have really been bleeding the rounds. And they just need to refocus and bring it back. And Nora looking very comfortable now. They're up and about. We can hear them. They're loud again. It's what you like to hear from Nora. It's generally what they're like when they're playing well.
Yeah, they do really thrive on that energy, as do Fnatic. But at the moment in the Fnatic camp, it's a bit of a schooling from old mate Dizzle, who no doubt will be bringing some constructive things to the team. And you can see they've reassessed some of their decisions. They will, in fact, be reattempting Archives Tellers, something that I hadn't expected, but they've changed some of their operators. Kaid is, in fact, brought instead of that mirror. Fnatic are aware that Nora Rengo didn't push where they were expecting them to push. Obviously, as I mentioned at the start of the previous round, that mirror window protecting that security hallway, Fnatic have identified that as a position that many teams will take onto their bomb site that they like to defend. But Nora Rengo didn't push there at all, and so Fnatic decided, look, the mirror's not so useful, but we might want to deny some of these hatches with the Kaid.
Yeah, it's a great pick. I definitely agree. And you know what? Nora actually 6 picks away from a Twitch to a Thatcher. So what better way to counter that than to bring the Thatcher? So that's a great read from Nora, potentially predicting that that's what Fnatic might try to do. They might try to Kaid those hatches just to prevent control of that.
They actually 6 picks away from the counter to Mirror to 6 picking onto the counter to Kaid. Yep. So a little bit of a parallel there between the two teams, 6 picks. But of course, from Nora Rengo, I don't know whether that was good read or if there was another reason why they might have wanted to bring a Thatcher. But either way, they will have that utility available.
Yeah, and we do see aces there on the mute. Potentially that could be a reason for the Thatcher there. Those mute jammers often a pain, especially as a Twitch, because sometimes they're at angles you just can't get to shoot. We will see Nora Rengo spawn a little bit split here, but favoring mostly this Visa side. They did try to open that Visa hatch quite early to drop into the server hallway, but it was denied beautifully above by Lusty. But it doesn't look like that he's playing the same position this time, and they will drone it out to check. They will see that there's no holes above, and the only denial is that that Kaid charge is on the hatch right now. There are 2 Fnatic players playing above, so it looks like quite a more aggressive vertical roam from Fnatic.
Yeah, I think that they're keen to get more of these runouts, but they do really need to leverage that over information. You know, that's previously what worked out for Virtue and Rizraz, is Rizraz spotted out a player and called it specifically out to Virtue, who managed to capitalize on a runout. But the rest of Fnatic don't necessarily have that information, and Racial is really keen for this Fnatic aggression. He's holding very, very long angles all the way out from spawn out and whoop whoop, and look, it seems to be working at least for now. If Fnatic do decide to go for these aggressive peaks, I wouldn't put it after, you know, Nora Rengo to punish that.
Yeah, and they've droned out those roamers upstairs. They're very much aware that they're there. Racial was playing a great angle to try and cut them off, but no picks coming at this stage. They're going to have to try and start figuring out how they're going to attack this bomb site, as half the round has now expired. Fnatic moving around quite freely at this stage, but Nora Rengo closing in on these roamers. There's quite a few Nora Rengo players playing upstairs here, and Mary, he's so close to this Maestro and the CEO. He doesn't look through the holes. He can't quite get the angle from the stairs, in fact, but those guys are so close to engaging and they don't realize. JJ will try and nade, and Nora Rengo on side here, actually. They're going to get the plant down into Tellers. It's a quick plant and potentially not aware by Fnatic. Lusty will get a frag on a Mary. Rizaz finally gets the C4. It was so close to getting the plant down. And all of a sudden, it's a waterfall of frags for Fnatic, and 5v1, JJ by himself, and he's going to have a really hard battle. And there it is. Lusty secures the round for Fnatic. It's a great timeout, and they've bounced back.
As you said, Raven, that tactical timeout worked wonders for Fnatic, and really it came down to Nora Rengo took a gamble to try to do what you can't do on that bomb site, and that is try to plant up top without clearing below. And Fnatic, despite that use of the Thatcher to try and counter that Pulse and the Maestro, it just wasn't enough. Fnatic already had the information onto where the player was planting and used their utility to deny that fairly simply.
Yeah, and we're going to see Fnatic now take the top floor bomb site. That is the console office meeting room bomb site. And Nora Rengo have made a couple of changes to their lineup. One notable is IQ. That look like they're going to bring this IQ on Ramu. Not just an aggressive operator, but great for spotting out a lot of intel. There is a lot of intel on the side of Fnatic, but you know what? Ramu's actually going to go for a Twitch this time.
Yeah, not so keen for that IQ after all. But hey, we've seen a lot of Twitch from the Fnatic side, and Nora Rengo you know, may well have the advantage of bringing that... Okay, sorry. That's 10 frags for JJ. That's really impressive, but also a little bit surprising to me.
A little bit, yeah, and actually, it's interesting because he was brought in when Waka retired, and this buck roll was something that Waka played a lot of, and so to see him up there on the 10 frags, it's really good, because I think it really indicates to Nora Rengo that he can really begin to fill the shoes of Waka, and it's not a bigger hole as they've probably felt when the change happened. So props to JJ for showing up at the moment, and it's causing Fnatic a lot of headaches.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, back when JJ was, you know, back when he played for the team before, he then removed and then was rejoined. He used to play Thermite. He was their Thermite player, and you know, Racials came in and you know, has taken that role, and JJ went away, practiced his aim a little bit. No, that's just, I'm just having a go there. You know, he went away and he's come back, and now, as you said, filling the roles of Walker, which is very impressive because, of course, Walker is one of the best players in the world, and to fill the shoes of the best player in the world, you've got to be pretty darn good yourself.
That's right, and all JJ has to do on Concealer now is kill himself with a grenade, and he really will fulfill the Walker shoes. We are going to see Nora Rengo pushing quite aggressively here from the Visa hatch. Ramu has dropped and pushing through that bottom floor. That's almost a frag grenade kill to Magnet there. He's taken quite low, and this is a difficult position to hold. And difficult to get shots on. You can't actually get angles to that corner. The only real way to get that frag is to throw the grenades. So if they can't get that on Magnet and he plays patient, that will really delay that admin push. Lusty has gone below, and Magnet did get a nice frag there onto JJ, as we were talking of. So that's a man advantage now to Fnatic with the first minute gone, and a beautiful run out from Lusty. 5v3 advantage to Fnatic. 5v2 as we say. Rizraz with another run out. All of this aggression. Ramu will get potentially 2. Yes, he gets the 2 on re-entry, so that does equalize it quite quick. That advantage lost so quickly.
Yeah, that's a huge misplay from Fnatic. I can see Rizraz on the run out being worth it, but last year maybe that was a bit over-aggressive, and as a result, Ramu gets 2 freebies. Now it's a 2 versus 2, and with a minute and a half to play with, 2 versus 3, sorry, and I mean, Magnet's already been taken pretty low down. Nora Rengo can certainly salvage this round. The key to that is the fact that they have so much time to work with.
Yeah, the time is really a good point there. The time management's been good so far from Nora Rengo, but that aggression really forced a lot of plays to happen early in favor of Fnatic initially, but it went back in the favor of Nora, and so they've got a minute to just drone this out, clear some utility, and figure out what they want to do. It looks like Ram is aware of this position.
I don't know. Did he see the Jaeger? The way he's peeking, it looks like he is, but it's a ring around the rosy. The Fnatic player is potentially exposed, but Ram is looking the wrong way, and Virtue gets that good peek. Racial attempting this refrag, but Fnatic won't give him a damn thing, and they secure that round and retake the lead.
Nicely played from Fnatic there. They did have that aggressive play that gave them that early advantage, and while it was traded back, Virtue and Aces together playing really well on that bomb site, just combining to finish it off. Yeah, really well played.
And what really flipped the tables for Nora Rengo when they were down 0-3 was they started to play more confidently on the defense. They started to play more aggressively. And whereas, you know, for Fnatic, we saw that they had a bit of a hiccup when they went onto the defense, and then they had their tactical timeout, and they started to do exactly that. They started to play aggressive. These jump outs, these aggressive positions have been working so well for them, and Nora Rengo haven't been able to break through that.
Yeah, you're right there, and we will see Fnatic take the garage bomb site. Magnet 6 picking from Legion to an LR.
This is going to be a bathroom hold, I reckon, on the middle floor.
I would agree with you. Fnatic have often played that kind of hold, especially with Lusty on that mirror, and we are seeing 3 of them run upstairs to set that bathroom up. Lusty will be playing that bathroom. Actually, no, it's usually Magnet, I believe, playing with the LR.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So, yeah. So they use the Lusty to place the mirror window, but then Magnet has the FO12. And even a deployable shield, you know, with those Grizz mines as well, you know, not only is Magnet really in the advantage in the close range gunfights with that shotgun, but also he can open up holes in the floor. Let's say he retakes Piano late round. He can just easily with the shotgun open up holes in the floor, and then he has angles above to deny anyone who enters garage. It's a really good and reasonably versatile loadout for an Ella.
Yeah, and it's a strong position to play. That shotgun is quite insane at close range, the high fire rate. It's going to have to be a good read from Nora Rengo. They do have the Thatcher, which is the biggest counter to that entire hole because so much utility dedicated. We see ADSs, there's going to be good mines, as you mentioned. So Nora Rengo are going to have to really coordinate if they wish to take that control. They might decide to try and ignore it. It's difficult to ignore, but it's still possible.
It is, yeah. And I think one of the big things that we've seen from Nora Rengo in the past is opening up more angles by opening up the reinforced walls. I mean, we have Hibana and Thermite. You could open the reinforced walls of that bathroom and put Magnet in a very difficult position, take a long-range gunfight. But both thermite charges will very swiftly be deployed and exploded onto that exterior wall of the garage. But upstairs, meanwhile, Ramu is attempting to clear out Virtue, who does so much work on this Jaeger typically, but he's decided that it's about time he retreats back further and further away from the enclosing attackers.
That's such a strength of Virtue. He's a very mobile roamer, a mobile Jaeger. He likes to really hassle early and play back and really pick his gunfights. He's not one to overpeak, essentially. And this is really great denial of time. He's taken a lot of drones, a lot of utility, and over a minute played, and he's potentially going to be able to get back to the bomb site untouched. And that's, yeah, it's really strong.
Still inside of that bathroom, Magnet well and ready. In fact, we also have Aces on an unreinforced mirror window inside of that little security room. He has angles outside, and of course that ACOG will help him out. So we do have a lot of pressure on the bomb side, especially now that Virtue has retreated back to play pipes. Ramu, come on, that's, you know, you don't have very much ammunition in that Twitch drone, so you really can't waste those tasers. But nonetheless, I digress. Magnet still upstairs in the bathroom alongside all of the Fnatic players on site means that Nora Rengo really haven't taken that much ground.
Yeah, besides opening that garage wall, there's not been too much made. Virtue did get tagged a little bit as he tried to come back to site, and Ramu has been tagged low. Ramu is starting to get close to site here. He did miss that default before as well with the Twitch drone earlier. Unfortunately, he was spotted out because there is 3 players playing close to that kitchen he could have got the jump on. We do see JJ starting to push this bathroom as Mary will open part of that wall. Ramu with a nice frag onto Virtue.
Oh
Magnet
my.
pushes out and he does get the frag onto JJ. JJ to get some shots off, but that shotgun too powerful.
No
Magnet
way.
with another one on Papilia. They're just pushing one by one and just feeding him. Magnet taken low, but what a strong position with 30 seconds to go. It's a 4v3. Ramu's taken low, so Nora in a really difficult position here.
Despite Nora Rengo opening up those angles I mentioned, they still didn't manage to flush out Magnets, and oh, okay, eventually Mary will take him down with the bearing 9, but not before Magnet wastes so much time as well as 2 bodies. 3 versus 3 on the bomb site now. Ramu peeks on in, but Meryu finds that kill. Aces with the refrag. We know him with the older. He can do so much work. He's missing all of his rounds though, but the plant is denied by Rizraz, and there we have the round go to Fnatic on match point.
Well played by Fnatic, and we're just seeing this swing back and forth in terms of momentum here. It was early momentum for Fnatic, and then it was shut down by Nora for so many rounds in a row, and now it's swung back in the favor of Fnatic, and it's credit to them to fight against the grain. And we're going to see a timeout here from Nora Rengo. They need to gather themselves and stop the momentum from Fnatic and just refocus so they can get this map back in their favor.
Nora Rengo do now have the opportunity to, of course, talk to Kazoku. Not sure what he'll really give them as advice. And I think that, you know, when it was the defense, it was fairly obvious to see that aggression was what they needed. But now that they're on the attack, I think that it's more actually some of the hard counters that really they've struggled with, and as well as the time management. For example, you know, if they had actually properly utilized those holes in the walls of the bathroom, they would have caught out Magnet before he got a kill. And even, you know, if after he gets that first kill, they would have known not to re-peek it. Like, you got to play smart, not hard. Don't think I can win this fight when you're really not favored to win it. And that's really the magic of the shotguns in positions like that. You're always slated to win those gunfights.
Yeah, and Magnet played it so well, and he always does. We've seen him play that position so many times with Ella on that shotgun, and it's just so strong. It's hard to push, and the way Nora push it, yeah, just those 1v1 gunfights, and it's not going to favor you in that position. That shotgun's just too powerful. And here we go. We're getting back into it. Match point for Fnatic here, and they will be taking the Archives Teller's bomb site. Magnet initially picking the dock, but 6 pickings of the Capcan. They love this Capcan pick. They've played it quite a lot here, and we'll see how it plays out for them on this round. Racial going to the Thatcher. I think that's a great choice because so much utility that can be denied by that EMP grenade. It's almost always a great pick.
Lusty's really stepped up in this game. He's reached double digits alongside JJ, but it's been quite a few rounds since JJ's had those 10 frags, hasn't it now? And he really hasn't, you know, kept up that momentum, just as the rest of Nora Rengo, I believe we could say for the same story. But, you know, harking on to this Fnatic defense for a moment, it is in fact the Tellers and Archives bomb site that they did have a success on earlier, but they also did have a loss on this bomb site. They made their adaptations after their tactical timeout to then you know, convert that into a win. And this time they've also made further adaptations with, as you mentioned, the cap can earlier. But in this round, we're on the back of a Nora Rengo timeout.
That's right, and we'll see whether that's really helped Nora Rengo at all. Virtue looking to play a relatively aggressive position here up in the admin office. Again, Nora did like to take this Visa's side when they tried to attack this site, so Virtue reading into that and wanting to deny some of that early pressure.
Yeah, we've seen in the past Nora Rengo been baited into a bad push of this bomb site. We've seen Fnatic, you know, give them access to tellers, and that didn't work out so well for Nora Rengo as Fnatic retook. And I don't think Nora Rengo will make the same mistake. They have to play a little bit more systematically. They can't, you know, capitalize on an obvious opening when, in fact, that opening is a bait. A lot of this utility being, come on,
Ramu again.
Ramu has really struggled, like, with his aim on the Twitch drone. You know, not on gunfights, but just the Twitch drone itself, which is, I'm not sure what you can say for that. Is that just nerves?
He's compensating for ping still. He forgot that he's at LAN, I guess. It looks like Nora Rengo have actually decided to push the other side. They look like they're focusing mostly from the garage. In fact, most of their players down in that garage area, they're going to try and sweep across to that bottom floor, put a lot of pressure on Fnatic just directly to bomb site. Fnatic will be able to collapse back around them, so we'll be down to whether Nora Rengo cut these roamers off effectively, whether that opens up the round or not.
Ramu's playing very similar to Rizraz was in the previous rounds, in the previous map rather. Not just because he's on the Twitch, but because of the way he's droning himself in and trying to take out utility, but then also attempting to push in on the frags afterwards. But as for what's happening for Fnatic at the moment, it's Virtue taking a lot of damage just at the bottom of the Visa stairs, but he has the flexibility to make a move, and oh, here's a good refrag from Racial, but Magnus in a great position. He does finish off the down player, but Racial gets the refrag. That's not a good position for Fnatic. Nora Rengo in the numbers advantage despite Papilia low on HP.
Yeah, Virtue also tagged low on HP, and that was a really good push from Nora, really good teamwork there. They used the down teammate as a bit of bait, and Magnet potentially getting a little greedy, trying to confirm that kill. It was great to get the man down, but Nora Rengo capitalizing. Virtue whiffing some shots, but Ramu will get taken down to a good mine ultimately, but that is Virtue.
Oh,
good
Virtue,
angle to the
big
window.
Play. It's a 3 versus 2 for Fnatic now, and the tables are turned. That's also the diffuser on the ground, and the Legion player above has so much map control. Papilia wants to take this out. He has no choice but to jump on inside. Virtue, in fact, downed upstairs, so it's a 2 versus 2. Papilia now on the bomb side. He has the diffuser, but it's a very vulnerable position. Lusty gets the revive now onto Virtue, but the diffuser is going down. There's not enough information for Fnatic, and that's the diffuser on the ground. It's now a 1 versus 2 for JJ as Papilia is killed on the bomb site. Virtue wants to counter defuse, but it's a bait, and JJ can't tag down the first player. Fnatic surely will close out this round, and that's map number 1 towards Fnatic.
GG to Fnatic in a great, strong close to that map. They were under a lot of pressure in the mid there. Nora Rengo charging ahead with the lead when they were up 4-3, and Fnatic just completely bringing it back to their favor.
Fantastic revenge for Fnatic there as well. After so many times we've seen Nora Rengo be the ones to start the series off with the map win. Quite an explosive finish to that game as well. It must be a good feeling now for Fnatic. Get that wind in their sails. Now another map on the board here at the APAC Finals, and just 1 to go.
I think especially since they did lose out on Oregon to Airwolf 1-7, you know, that really throws something in their face. And coming up against Nora Rengo, that's the first map that they've dropped this entire tournament. So Fnatic got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. All those doubts now quelled.
With that said, that is Fnatic's map choice. So Consulate 7-5, pretty close, realistically speaking. Leaves a bit of a question mark perhaps over Border.
A little bit to an extent, but I think it was a really great choice for them to pick Consulate. I think, as I was saying during the cast, that they maybe used that as a momentum thing because they were playing pretty strong against Airwolf on that map just before this match. So they opened up really strong with those first 3 attacks, and I think that really is what it came down to. So moving into the next map with Border, I think it still really favors Nora Rengo. They're quite strong on Border, and Fnatic, yeah, I'm not too sure they're going to be able to contest with Nora in that one.
That said, you know, Fnatic, in terms of long-term history, were very comfortable on Border. They were always a team, specifically in the ANZ region, that you wouldn't want to take to that map. But, you know, here on Consulate, we actually saw, despite, you know, you're saying that Fnatic started off well because they had already warmed up on Consulate against Airwolf, but even after Nora Rengo took 3 straight rounds, you know, we then saw Fnatic take 4 of their own later on in a row. So I feel like you've got to say that the momentum and the team play is on the cards for Fnatic is working really well for them.
Well, that's another question that I'll pose to you as well, given the fact that Fnatic do actually come off having played the later semi-final. They're already warmed up. Is that a factor for Nora Rengo? Now that they've had that map under their belt, they're going to be sort of warmed up as well, and things might change in the next map.
Yeah, potentially. Sometimes in best of 3, some teams really can struggle a little bit more on that first map than they traditionally would, as it is kind of like a warm-up. So yeah, that could be the case here for Nora Rengo, and we might see them come out much stronger on the second map. They're usually a really strong team in terms of the mental game with mental fortitude, so I don't believe that this result from the first map will phase them too much going into the second.
I'd agree with that, but also digging a bit deeper, if and when we get to that third map, I think that's really when we'll see some fatigue potentially come into question for Fnatic. I mean, they've just played 3 maps against Airwolf, and now that was, you know, reasonably hard felt on Consulate. If we see, especially if Nora play really well on border and close it out convincingly, I'd start to feel like Fnatic would be feeling the, you know, the fatigue.
Well, maybe it's time then for Fnatic to have a bit of a chill out. Same for us here on the desk. We're going to take a quick break. Map number 2 coming up after this.